Hello, and happy Monday. Welcome to our Money Mondays live with Purse Strings. My name is Maggie Nielsen, and I'm here today with William Pitney, and we're going to be talking about investment philosophy. For those new tuning in, Purse Strings is here every week providing some financial education, get those wheels turning, get some questions answered. And then when you need a professional to go put things in transition or transaction, we have top tier financial professionals, all things finance, who love to work with the female market. You laughing at me already?
No, I'm just smiling.
And
It's good to be
so
here.
we call those our Purse Strings approved professionals, and William is one of them. So we're so excited to have you on today. To get started, could you just give a little intro about yourself and where you're calling in from?
My name is William Pitney, certified financial planner. I have an office out here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I have almost 20 years of experience working with women and families to help them achieve their financial goals and aspirations.
Awesome. And so, yeah, we're excited to talk about investment philosophy today. And I'm ready to just jump right in and ask, what is investment philosophy?
Well, in a nutshell, it's your personalized guide for all your current and future investing decisions. I want to step back and say, let's start at a much higher level. We believe that everyone has an overarching financial philosophy that guides all of their financial decisions. And then your investment philosophy and your risk management philosophy are subsets of that. Today, we're only going to talk about the investment philosophy. And in a nutshell, it's a way to really understand from a critical standpoint how your money is supposed to work for you. It's not just about a number, but it's about capturing what's really, really important to you. It's a statement about your most important values. And this ultimately frames how you will use your money to serve yourself, to serve your loved ones, and your community.
Awesome. I love that. And so why is it important to even be aware of this?
I would say most people are unaware that they even have an investment philosophy. I
I
held
agree.
some beliefs before I became a financial professional. After I became a financial professional, I did not fully understand how all the pieces fit together until I attended a professional workshop back in 2010. And it was during that workshop that I became aware of and clarified my own investment philosophy. I sort of said, this is how the markets work and this is how we'll invest a portfolio, but I really didn't put down on paper or fully understand that my investment philosophy was very different than what the masses believe. The reason why it's important to become aware of your own investment philosophy is because this is what reflects what you believe about how the markets work and how they should work for you. Many people believe that if you identify the next hot stock or the next hot sector or the next hot manager, that's all you need. The majority of my clients, when they first started working with us, they came in, they held some combinations of these beliefs about, we invested this way because of this, or this is going to be hot. We wanted to take advantage of these trends. Well, once we shared our own firm philosophy with how we work with clients and why we do what we do, and then we put it in the context of how the markets work and how the investment approach works, they started to ask different questions. And ultimately, they discovered that the majority of what they believed was unconscious and it was not based in the financial science. We helped them become aware of their philosophies and the science that backed that up. And then once they understood that conventional wisdom does more harm than it does good, they were willing to make the change. The scientific approach shows us what works, why it works the way it does. And once my clients became aware of this, their investment approach changed and it offered them a greater sense of peace of mind. And many of them are like, oh, this is so much easier to understand than all the other stuff we were doing. So again, the goal is to make all your investing decisions much easier. That's what it boils down to.
We like easy. Easy's the way to go. And so
Easy only if it works.
okay, fair points.
Okay.
And so, how does this affect where you invest your money?
Well, I'm going to start.
I think a lot of people just think, you throw all your money into the stock market and that's just kind of does its magic. How does this kind of work?
Well, there is some magic to it if you believe in hocus pocus. I don't believe in the magic or the hocus pocus. I believe in the financial science. So I'm going to say, if you look back over the last couple of years, what have we seen? We've seen a number of people jumping in and out of the next hot tech stock and chasing crypto. Everybody's experiencing that FOMO, or what we like to call the fear of missing out. And the peer pressure to do what everyone else is doing is just overwhelming. But once you know your own investment philosophy, it allows you to avoid the herding behavior and chasing fads. Many of my clients will ask me about, crypto, or what they should consider if we should make any changes at all, but they don't act or react to whatever's happening around them. And it's because they understand what's really important to them and what they're using their money for. More importantly, they understand why and how we invest their monies the way that we do. And again, it's all based on over 70 years of financial science. Without an investment philosophy, we see portfolios, they're a mess. Even when people work with other advisors, they'll bring us their portfolios and we'll analyze them. I'm like, okay, how was this designed? Why was it created this way? And frequently they'll say, I just don't know. One of the things that we have discovered is a lot of people, they are scared about having enough, and they want to feel secure with their money. And when you have an investment philosophy that aligns with your values and works with the way the science shows us the markets work, they no longer worry about those things. So they stop chasing fads and they stop overreacting to all the things that are happening in the marketplace. I have some clients who've been with me for almost 20 years now, and they'll ask me, so how does the thing happening in Ukraine affect our decisions longer term? And we come back to the investment philosophy and they're like, okay, that makes sense. But they don't panic or overreact when bad things are happening in the market.
Right. It makes you feel more confident, more secure in what you have going on.
That is correct. And it takes a longer term perspective. It's not just what's happening right now.
Right.
My clients they recognize that if they make a decision today about, say based on their fears that we all experience as humans, if they make a decision based on the fear today, it could do a lot of damage long term and could affect their ability to achieve their lifelong aspirations and other goals. So we try to maintain a longer term perspective and to give them context into what's happening with inflation or what's happening with Ukraine or crypto and those things. We give them the perspective and they go, okay, we can relax and go back to living our regular lives.
So it seems like a really important step is to first even see if your financial professional has an investment philosophy and see if you align with that.
I would say we all have an investment philosophy. The key question to ask is, are we conscious of that philosophy?
Good point.
Or are we living unconscious of that philosophy? And again, even with all of my training early in my career, I was unaware that I actually had an investment philosophy that works. I was just like everybody else. I was unconscious of what it truly was.
And so can you share a little bit about what FocusYOU, what their investment philosophy is?
Yeah. So we believe fundamentally that the capital markets work. And yes, people can point out lots of examples of, this thing that went wrong or this other thing that went wrong, because none of us can predict what's going to happen in the future. But essentially, we believe that the capital markets will do what they're designed to do. Secondly, we believe that using the financial science that shows us how to take advantage of what happens in the marketplace and to avoid all the misbehavior that the average investor does is important. We believe in making sure that your portfolios are globally diversified around the world. We don't know who's going to win and who's going to lose. So we never want to put all your eggs into any one company or any one country. Instead, we want to make sure you have a globally diversified portfolio, again, based on the science. And then we want to make sure that we rebalance as necessary. So a lot of clients are like, oh, markets are hot, we should buy more of that. Or, hey, markets are hot, we should get out of all those things. So again, our philosophy is we want to buy low, we want to sell high. So we want to make sure that you take the profits. But more importantly, it's just making sure we take advantage of what the science shows us what works.
So then how do you work with your clients to figure out their investment philosophy?
Well, so in the beginning of our relationships, we have each person complete several assessments I want to understand where the clients sit. So we'll ask some basic general questions to try to understand their big picture view. We will spend quite a bit of time trying to understand their individual values, what they want the money to be used for. So I will say, if someone says, we just want more of it, that doesn't help me. But when someone comes and they say, you know, we want to be able to have these experiences with our kids, or we want to retire comfortably and not be a burden on society, or we want to leave a legacy for our children, our grandchildren, or our universities or something, that's telling me what's important. Most of the people that I meet, they're using their money as an expression of love. You know, I want to be able to do for others around me, or I want to be able to take care of myself so that I'm not a burden to others. So once we understand the values, that's key. And then we use some quantitative things to help us understand how risky the client, or how much risk the client's really willing to take. And then through multiple conversations, we really start to hone in on what the client's philosophy is. And then I have a specific presentation that I walk all of my clients through in the beginning of our relationship before we're really talking about making any changes at all. I walk them through understanding our philosophy, how we arrived at our philosophy, and what the philosophy could mean to them. And I've never had anyone say, well, I completely disagree with that. Once they see the facts and understand what's happening, they go, no one ever showed me that. Why not? So that's how we go about. So our philosophy, again, globally diversified portfolio based in the financial science. And then we help align the individual's goals with their philosophy and make sure that couples are talking back and forth and are in alignment with each other.
Yeah, it's so important, those conversations, and to share and be very transparent about this stuff. Because like you said, we want to know that we're secure. It's not more. That's not a philosophy, really. And so can your philosophy then change over time?
Well, I will say the only time I really see the philosophy change is when people transition from being unaware to aware. And that's where the significant transformation happens. So once my clients understand what they have been doing, what their previous advisor had been doing, or what they've been doing on their own, they will go, oh, so there is science behind us. Oh, so we can do this a different way. And oh, I don't have to be so anxious about these things. So I want to step back and talk a little bit more about how the philosophy is important and what it can mean for clients. So as I said, many of my clients, they will come over and they're unconscious. Many of them come from other advisors. And the one thing that I will frequently hear is, again, I don't know why these are in the portfolio, and I don't know why they built it that way. And again, this leaves them feeling anxious. And one of the things that I want to make sure of is that none of my clients are ever they never leave a meeting feeling anxious about their portfolio. As an example, back in the beginning of the pandemic, the market started crashing, and we're all kind of worried about, one, are we going to be healthy? Are we going to make it through this thing? And then two, the markets are misbehaving. And what does that mean? If I am healthy, will I have enough money to live on? So with my newer clients, and this is always true with my newer clients, they've never experienced the implementation and a downturn with the new investment approach. Mm-hmm. So I got on the phone and I made sure to call all of my newer clients, especially those who came on anxious in the beginning of our relationship. And I would call, hey, how's it going? I know the markets are down. How are you feeling about it? And I would hear again and again, you've explained how the markets work. You've showed me how my portfolio will perform in a good market and a bad market. So I know it'll go up and it'll go down. So I'm really not feeling anxious about my investments because you told us these things would happen. So I'm comfortable with that. But we want to say thanks for asking. And then they would close by saying something like, stay safe, be healthy, and hope we'll see each other face to face again after this lockdown is behind us. But there was never the sense of, oh my God, I got to sell out of this stuff because the markets are misbehaving. I'm missing out on something. So once the clients become conscious of the investment approach and they're able to make conscious choices behind how we build out the portfolio, it makes a world of difference.
That sounds like a great phone call to have on both ends. You don't want to have anxious clients. The client doesn't want to be anxious. And to have those phone calls and have them be like, you taught me, I'm not worried, is really A, great business, B, really great for that customer, because I remember a lot of people thought the sky was falling, and people didn't know what to do. But to be able to stay calm in those situations is really the best benefit that you could really have.
And I would say that's probably the number one thing about having a conscious awareness of the investment philosophy and the science and the investment approach. It gives people the ability to step back and look at everything in context. So again, if we only look at what happens day to day, it can be overwhelming. But when we're able to step back and look at trends and things, it makes a huge difference in how we react. So my number one job is to keep my clients calm. So a lot of my clients call me the calmer, because they say, hey, this thing has me anxious. What do I do? And they'll give me a call and kind of talk about it and go, oh, I never thought about it that way before. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you pay me to do. Pay you to keep you from making a mistake.
Definitely, definitely. It's easy to get caught up in all that. Every day it's, breaking news or, a huge draft. But yeah, you have to take a step back and look at that big picture and see, what your plan is personally.
And I do want to say, Maggie, thanks for bringing that up. The day-to-day news, I'm one of those people. I don't watch the evening news. I don't watch the news. I will read the news, but I don't watch it. Too many images to keep us stimulated and get us all worked up. So I look at multiple news sources, try to get different perspectives on things. But what I recognize, probably 10 or 15 years ago, you always hear a lot of people get on television, whether it's politicians or media pundits or whoever. They get on there and they say the future is more uncertain. And then I will ask my clients, wait a minute, 200 years ago, we weren't sure where our next meal was going to come from. We weren't sure if our neighbors were going to get raided. We weren't sure if we're going to find water. And when I heard that in the late 1800s, early 1900s, how much news they would get over a lifetime, we get that like in one day now. I'm thinking, right. Wait a minute, what do you mean more uncertain? Most of us living in America, when we wake up in the morning, we feel pretty secure about being able to leave our homes and come back to our homes. We know that if we hit the light switch, the lights are going to come on. We turn the water faucet, the water is going to come on. We open the refrigerator, there's going to be something in there to eat. And I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but for most of the people, we have some certainty about our next meal and security at home. There may be uncertainty about what tomorrow brings, but as children, we were always taught no one's ever promised tomorrow. Right. So we have more certainty about what's going to happen today than we had decades ago. So when I hear people talking about, more uncertainty, I'm like, no, it's always been uncertain. We just don't know what those uncertainties are going to be. So from a financial standpoint, we can plan and build in certain uncertainties, and a well-designed investment philosophy will help, just as an overall financial philosophy will help. So once you have those things in place, you can take some of the pressure off yourself and say, yeah, the future's unknown, but we built and designed this thing to hopefully get us where we need to go. And if it's done well, it will get us where we need to go. So just wanted to offer that on the certainty, uncertainty, and more uncertain conversation.
And you talk about the science and the stuff behind it, and so it's like you've seen the history, you've worked with it, and so from the past, and that helps you kind of predict the future and things like that. So it's not always as uncertain as people might seem to believe. But I always think uncertain could be really positive. You never know what could come. It could be amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of that, a lot of people like to talk about downside volatility and risk. So we love upside volatility and upside risk. Those prices are up, the income is up, things are good. Yep. But it's the fearful of the down market. And Warren Buffett and a lot of the greatest investors ever, they talk about, when the general masses are greedy, be fearful. So when we see everybody trying to buy things that don't have any basis in value, like crypto, we run to the hills. And then when the markets are misbehaving and there's a lot of negative downside, we say it's time to go buy. So when I think Buffett said, when people are greedy, be fearful. When people are fearful, be greedy. And that's pretty much the way our investment philosophy takes advantage of it. So again, it's buy low, sell high.
Yeah, definitely. And so let's say, you have a partner or somebody else that you're investing with. Is it important for both of you to have the same investment philosophy?
And again, once they become aware of their own philosophy, they can have conversations. And the most important thing for the couple is for them to talk about it. What I've discovered over my nearly 20 years is most people really don't talk about money. One invests, the other spends, and they kind of say, do we have enough? And they just kind of move on. So once you start the conversations, it's important to understand where there are differences and where there is overlap. And again, in the beginning of all of my relationships, we go through several assessments to help us flesh that out. Then through the conversations, we uncover the individual beliefs and expectations, and that helps us develop some mutual agreements and understandings, and ultimately a joint philosophy. It's rare that I find two people of a couple on the extreme ends. There's usually a significant amount of overlap, and then we just get some agreement around that. And a lot of the, the differences are because they really haven't had conversations about what did money mean to my family when I was a kid? What does it mean to your family when there was a kid? And we have some of those childhood stories that linger and they affect the decisions we make today. So just by having a conversation, we're frequently able to get on the same page. So at the extreme end, I had one couple where he thought he was aggressive. So like an 80% stock, 20% portfolio was his comfort level. And then she was on the opposite extreme. She wanted like a 40% stock, 60% fixed income portfolio. That's about as extreme as it's gotten. And then through the conversations, we were able to reach a middle ground. And he wasn't nearly as aggressive as he thought he was. And she wasn't nearly as conservative as she thought she was. So it's through the conversation when they get on the same page.
Again, it's just that unconscious, you think you've had these stories and these different stuff. And it's amazing how much this childhood and these things that you've learned from parents, news, just people out there that you think are so true. But having these conversations, you can really get grounded.
And I would say that's probably the most important thing about working with a professional, a very good professional. As I had a couple of clients say, are you helping me manage my money, or are you my therapist or something? So we end up with these conversations, really getting clear on some things and understanding the personal history and what their values are. And sometimes there's misalignment between those. And by helping people become conscious of those things, they can go, oh, I can make a different choice. So my team and I were talking this morning about some content that we're developing. And as we're going through that, I said, it's really about possibilities. So what we discovered, and a lot of people on the call have probably experienced this, there's a lot of fear around finances. You won't have enough. If you don't take care of the healthcare portion, you'll never be able to pay for your kids' college. They're going to have this unending debt that'll keep them from buying housing. And there's all this fear of missing out and all those kind of things. Well, my staff and I were talking, it's really about imagining what's possible. Frequently, people will come to me and they'll say, well, we can't do this, and we're going to have to do this, that, or another. And I'll say, whoa, put the brakes on. You're paying me to be the professional. And with my professional knowledge and experience, I'm not going to be able to make the decisions for you, but I can show you some possibilities. And as we go through creating those possibilities, people start to experience their money very, very differently. So I've had people come in and tell me they'd have to retire to another state, or they'd have to work an extra decade or whatever. And then I'll say, no, we have the conversations and we go through all the resources, and they have this sort of sense of disbelief, like it is possible. And I said, yeah, you're an expert at what you do, and I'm an expert at this. Because I'm not emotionally invested in the decision you make, I'm able to look at all the possibilities and then present them to you. You get to choose. So whether it's an investment philosophy or approach to finance in general, if you find the right professional, it can make the world of difference in how you live your life.
Definitely. And that's why some people, they're afraid to go to a professional and kind of rip off the Band-Aid. But I'm like, I think they're tell you, oh yeah, cut out all that else. They're going to show you everything that you can accomplish or you can make happen with what you have and how to make the best of it, So you're probably thinking of the most doomsday situation. Well, this person's trying to get you your most ideal picture perfect life, which is awesome, especially if you have the same investment philosophy and have the same kind of alignment and goals and beliefs.
Yeah, I would say I used to think that, Maggie. And then one day what I realized is that sometimes people are afraid to come to us because they think they're going to be judged. They think that if they if their goals and values aren't aligned with that of the advisor, they're going to be criticized for that. And I would tell you, I have clients, we have very different philosophies on life. We have very different views and perspectives. My job as a professional is not to judge you. My job as a professional is to help you, regardless of your circumstances. So I have some people, they have more than enough. Now, I have some people, when they come in, they may not have enough. And ultimately, the solutions that we develop will be customized to them. So again, I used to believe that if the client's values were so misaligned with mine, that it would be difficult. But what I realized is we're all human. We all have a history. And if we really get into that history, and as a professional, my job is to help you live your best life, period. So again, you may be more conservative with your portfolio. You may be more aggressive with your portfolio, but ultimately you have goals and aspirations. And you pay me to help you achieve them.
Your company is called FocusYOU. The focus is on them. I see how this whole circle works out to be.
Yes.
Are there any last tips, tricks, or little education pieces you'd like to share with us today about the investment philosophy?
I will say, if you aren't working with a professional, I'd say the number one thing you can do is sit down, look at your portfolio, and ask yourself, why are we investing in the stuff that we're investing in? And how does it all fit together? How do we feel about it? And do the same thing with your overall financial situation. What is our financial philosophy, and how does it meet or achieve what's truly important to us? Chances are there's going to be some misalignment in there, but don't get yourself. It's just part of the deal. You're probably operating on autopilot like most of us do. Take some time and ask yourself those questions. And if you do experience misalignment, ask yourself, what can I do to put myself in the best possible shape? And I do want to say, if you choose to work with a professional, you should not ever feel guilty about where you're starting. If you are judged, go find another advisor to work with. If you feel after the meeting that you're still confused, go find another advisor. The advisor that's best for you is the advisor who helps you understand what's going on and what's possible, and they won't guilt you at all.
Yeah, leave confident, feeling secure, feeling good.
Yes.
Thank you for all this great information today. I feel like it's been inspirational and educational. What's the best way for people to reach out to you if they have more questions or would like to work with you?
Just reach out to go to my website, www. I don't think the people use that part anymore, but I had to go to www.FocusYOU, FocusYOU.com. And when you're there, just check it out. And I will tell you, our website is currently being revised. So if something looks a little bit old or a little bit strange, just know that the new website will be rolling out soon. But go there, check us out. And if you want to schedule, just click on I think it's called book a call or schedule now, select prospective client. And we will do a 15-minute introductory call to help understand what it is you're trying to achieve and how we may be able to help. And then if there's a good fit with that 15-minute, we can schedule an hour-long complimentary call to explore the relationship potential further.
Awesome. William's also one of our Purse Strings approved professionals, so you can check him out at our site, pursestrings.co. This was great. So, it's going to be shared again. You can share it with your friends, and we'll be back here again next week with another professional and some great education. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, Maggie. I was like 30 minutes. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough time to get it all out. So this was great.
It was awesome. All right. We'll talk to everyone soon. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.